You know, atheists tell us that natural laws can explain everything. Actually, we know they can't, but let's suppose for the sake of argument they're right, that natural laws can explain every cause and effect inside the universe. You would still need God. You say, why? Well, think about this. Why are the natural laws so consistent and precise? Why do they do the same thing over and over again? It appears like there's a mind behind them. In fact, let's take an example. Right now, you're thinking, obviously, and hopefully I am too. And as you're thinking, in order for you to think, the neurons in your brain need to fire accurately and precisely. In order for the neurons to fire, the atoms need to do what they do properly. And in order for the atoms to do what they do properly, the four natural forces, or the four fundamental forces, must do what they do properly. But what makes the four fundamental forces do what they do properly? If you think about this, as Aristotle said, you're ultimately going to come back to an unmoved mover, a fully actualized, uncreated, eternal, external intellect directing things that do not have intelligence themselves toward an end. This is called final causality. And all of nature is goal-directed. There's a final cause to it. I mean, think about this. Why does an acorn always become an oak tree? Why doesn't it become an elm tree? Or a puppy, or a seahorse? Because it's directed to become an oak tree. Is it conscious? No. Then how does it know to become an oak tree? Because there's an external intellect directing it toward an end. In fact, developmental biologists have been experimenting with fruit fly embryos for many years, and they try and divert fruit flies very early on in the developmental process. And whenever they divert these fruit flies, they get one of three possible destinations, actually, while they divert them. It's interesting, the fruit fly embryos always make heroic efforts to get back on track to becoming a fruit fly. And ultimately, they get, these developmental biologists, one of three possible conclusions. They get a normal fruit fly, a mutant fruit fly, or a dead fruit fly. They don't even get a horse fly, much less a horse. Now, we're told by the evolutionists that natural laws can do what even all our intelligence can't do. We can't even divert fruit fly embryos to become anything other than what they are. Why are fruit fly embryos so persistent in becoming fruit flies? Because there's an external intellect directing them. In fact, there's an external intellect directing all these non-intelligent processes. That's what we mean by God, a sustaining cause, not just a creative cause. The universe could be eternal. You'd still need an unmoved mover, a sustainer to keep the universe and all its natural processes going in the direction they go in. So the atheists could be right about natural laws, but they haven't explained the natural laws and why they're so consistent and goal-directed to begin with. If you want more on this, get the book Stealing from God, Why Atheists Need God to Make Their Case.